to change the narratives about mental health that exist. We have a collective responsibility to destigmatize and inform how we, as a society, view mental health. For any change to come about in our communities, we need to tackle the mind, the powerhouse. If the mind is conquered, we will go nowhere. As Miss South Africa, I'll be a representative of the beauty, resilience, and diversity that exists in this country. Thank you.
Those were just, episodes rather of last week Saturday, where Shudufhadzo Musida vowed, and wowed judges rather, to claim the Buhle crown in Cape Town and be crowned Miss South Africa 2020. The 24-year-old is the first woman from Venda to win the beauty pageant, and her passion, as we heard, lies in raising awareness about mental health issues. Now, over the past few years, we've also seen that the pageant has visibly become more inclusive, which is important in a country, of course, as diverse as South Africa. But she now joins us this week on the catch-up. Shudufhadzo, a very good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Weekend Dawn. I mean, it's been 1 week into your reign. How has life changed for you since your crowning last week Saturday?
Good morning. My life has changed dramatically. Last week, around this time, I was preparing for the finale, preparing my final statement, thinking to myself, 5 months of work has led up to this moment. Now it's been a week since my crowning. It's been surreal. It's been quite a busy week, but I feel so blessed.
I mean, you are coming back to OR Tambo tomorrow, and of course we'll be tracking your return from the mother city. But just looking at the crown, the moment that you obviously having to take over from Zozi Tunzi, as well as Sashali Olifia. I want to know from you, was there any pressure stepping into those footsteps? How have you managed to carve out your own niche and define what your focus will be for 2020?
I don't think there was any pressure at all. I think I was more inspired more than anything else, because I got to spend a bit of time with Sasha and speak to Zozi for a bit. But after speaking to both of them, you get to realize that you're stepping into good shoes, not big shoes. You get to realize that you've got sisters to look up to ask for advice when needed. So in terms of carving out my own message, I had to carve out a message that I feel very strongly about. I've been advocating for mental health for a while now, because I believe that it's time for the conversations around it in our society to change. So when that moment came, I felt like it was so necessary for me to speak up and bring awareness to mental health.
So in terms of projects, initiatives, etc., I mean, what do you have planned to tackle the issue of mental illness for your tenure?
I think right now the fact that we're having the conversation about mental health on mainstream media is a good place to start, because before, mental health was engaged with not to rehabilitate our society but rather to shame. But right now we're speaking about it as a way to bring awareness around the country. So I think starting the conversation is my starting point to actually start the conversation around the country and get people speaking about it. If I can, even get the relevant stakeholders to educate people with the relevant information. So I think that's where I'm starting, and we're going to build up as time goes. But the starting point is conversation.
Well, a snowflake becomes an avalanche because it gains momentum. So we're definitely wishing you all the best of luck. But I also want to just perhaps take the focus to the issue of redefining beauty, incorporating the necessary representation that you have come to perhaps be a mirror for so many South Africans and Black diaspora at large. I mean, stepping into those shoes and knowing that the world is watching. I mean, how are you going to navigate this, perhaps redefining some of those notions?
I've heard a lot of people say me having a bald head has been a huge step for representation. And I see it, because the reason why I entered was because I saw my face reflected in Zozi. And I think the big thing about about life at the moment, especially now during COVID and in the age that we live in. It's important for people to be seen and to be heard. Our representation is important because the next little girl will see themselves in me and be able to believe that they can enter a pageant like this. I think we are redefining narratives, we are redefining beauty standards, and we're showing a more inclusive world that is more accepting of different types of people, different types of looks, where people get to be free to be who they are without trying to fit into any mold.
And it just also represents how holistic we all are. I mean, you've backed this up with a degree as well. You've got politics, philosophy, and economics in your belt. Looking at the current South African political climate, economic climate that perhaps we all are having to navigate. I mean, the baton that's been handed over, the issues of wanting to find economic emancipation, empowerment, enlightenment at large. I mean, what is your stance on the current state of South Africa? What gives you hope as a South African?
What gives me hope is the agency that exists in this country. I think one thing that I was speaking about recently was the need to invest into small businesses, especially those that are imperative to the economy. I think once we empower young people especially to exercise their agency and start small businesses, a lot will change for the current economic status of the country. What gives me hope is the fact that we have a lot of young and talented people that are innovative, that are going to adapt to the new COVID age, where everything has moved into a digital space, and I'm very, very hopeful for the future.
I'm just looking at also some of the other issues that permeate South African society. And of course, you're a public figure, you're a leader. So it's not for you to rescue everyone, but also perhaps provide some hope at large for those who are going to be watching and tapping in and just trying to understand that there is more out there. Just looking at the next foreseeable future, I'm thinking about the next month or so, what are some of those activities you are particularly going to focus on to bring about that change? I mean, it's one thing to speak about rewriting narratives, but the will to act is something that we definitely have to get behind if we're going to navigate this new normal.
I think I try my best to give hope where I can, but I'm not the type of person either to give false hope. I'm at a place where I'm very big on starting conversations in our society in order to change narratives, like I said. But then we also need to be cognizant of the fact that we're living in a COVID age, and we need to find ways, like I said, to innovate and to start working in those spaces. I think as time goes, I'm learning, speaking to relevant stakeholders on how we can do better, how we can be better. And once that's in the pipeline, and once I can guarantee that, then I can really speak on it. But I don't really want to say that I'm going to be doing 1, 2, 3 and then not do it. I'm a person of action, and I like to put my money basically where my mouth is.
Okay, so Shudufhadzo, I think the seriousness is over and done with. Thank you very much for perhaps giving us your stance on the political and economic climate in South Africa. But I'm looking back at you as a child growing up. I mean, did you envision this for yourself? What did you want to do with your life?
I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be the next Beyonce when I was younger. I remember I used to perform at school. I used to perform around my village. I used to perform at church. That was what I really, really wanted to do. And then I would watch pageants like these, but then for me, I wanted to be on that stage. But I always felt like, will I ever get there? Even though my mind and my heart, I didn't limit my dreams. So I always believed that my dreams are valid. And I still believe that my dreams are valid. Maybe one day I'll be performing in Madison Square Garden, who knows? Wow. So that has been a big dream of mine.
Well, the future is certainly bright, and you've definitely got the support. I'm looking at the current theme track of your life right now in conclusion, because you've got to wrap this up. I mean, what song encompasses this current theme track of your life? Give us a little liner, a little birdie whispered that you actually can sing as well.
What song encompasses my life right now? I think a song that has been the soundtrack of my life has been Marvin Sapp, Keep It Moving. Even the day of the pageant, that's all I could listen to. And it was an affirmation that I am a winner, that I can do anything that I set my mind to. Yes, that is the soundtrack of my life right now.
Okay, you don't want to give us a little teaser of what that sounds like?
I can try. I came to let you know that you don't have to worry. Let me remind you that you're faithfully and wonderfully made. You've always been God's favorite, even when you went your own way and disobeyed. His goodness and mercy still follows you.
Oh, we're going to drop the mic there. Shudufhadzo Musida, thank you for joining us here on Weekend Dawn. Of course, Miss South Africa 2020, Shudufhadzo Musida, just joining us here on Weekend Dawn for the catch-up. It's been 1 week into her reign. As we also mentioned, she arrives at OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg tomorrow. And Newzroom Afrika will be bringing you all that live action.